and hopefully the traffic wasn't so bad that we haven't got everyone who means to be there this evening with us now. I'm Becky Manning, and I'm the Director of Advanced Academics, and I have a couple of GT specialists who will help with the presenting tonight, Cindy Garcia from Silver Lake, and Kim Gale, who's at Dove, and then Megan Pryor over here is our audiovisual specialist for the evening, but she's the GT specialist at Colleyville Elementary. Tonight we're going to talk about all things that you might need to know if you're interested in your student either qualifying as a GT student for grades 1 through 4, or they may already have qualified as a GT student and you're interested in them possibly attending the Aspire Academy for the highly gifted. So we will address both of those topics, and we do not talk about the kindergarten or the 5th grade group because those identification procedures are a little different and happen at a different time of the year. So we had different evenings for those, just in case you were wondering why is it grades 1 through 4 instead of all elementary grades. But to get us started, first we're just going to talk about what we mean when we say gifted and talented. There are many definitions of what it means to be gifted. And so we use as our standard definition, the state of Texas has given us a child or youth who performs at or shows the potential for performing at a remarkably high level of accomplishment when compared to others of the same age, experience, or environment, and who exhibits high performance capability in any of the following areas. You'll notice there are actually 5 areas: intellectual, creative, artistic, leadership, and academic. It's very important to note that our program in GCISD and most programs in the state of Texas are designed to serve intellectually gifted students. So you can call that a GIA program, General Intellectual Ability Program. Reason being, all those other areas have lots of outlets and avenues of service, whereas the intellectually gifted don't necessarily have opportunities to be challenged appropriately without additional services. So that is the area that we'll be identifying for. In GCISD, we have this definition. GCISD says that gifted and talented students are defined as those who excel in the ability to think, reason, judge, invent, or create to the degree that they need special facilities and or educational services. So all of those things fall within that category of general intellectual ability. We'll be looking at 2 different areas in order to identify our students. One is aptitude and one is achievement. When we talk about aptitude, that's where we're measuring that general intellectual ability. And since that's the cornerstone of our programming, that part has to be in place. Oh no. I can talk really loud. Can you hear me in the back? Okay. I'll just put on my teacher voice because we just lost all battery capability apparently. There are batteries here if somebody wants to try. But I can also just talk really loud. Can you talk really loud? Okay, we can talk really loud. In any case, aptitude is the first step. So we administer some form of an aptitude test, and we're looking at the area of 130 and above, because nationally that is defined as the gifted intellectual area. Now, to allow for differences in testing situations, we actually look for a 125. That allows that standard error of measurement that sometimes needs to be taken into account. So the goal is a 125 on one of these aptitude tests, and that's how we begin. If we find the general intellectual ability is there, then we go on with the achievement testing. If we don't find the GIA is there, there's really no need to keep pulling your student out of their homeroom and continue administering tests. So if we don't find the GIA, the testing process is over. We won't continue. If we do, then we're going to go on and we'll give both a math and a reading achievement test. It's important to understand, because you're going to get these scores when you get your results. You're going to get a sheet that lists all of these scores. that 50 on these achievement tests is average. We all think of the numerical scale that we've been graded on all these years, and so when we see 50, we think, oh no, 50 is exactly where a grade level student should be performing. So when you look to the right and you see when we get into the numbers that are closer to this end of the bell curve, those are kids who are performing at the highest levels possible, and that's indicating to us that they need additional services in order to continue to be challenged beyond the grade level curriculum. All right, so it's a two-step process as far as the initial assessment goes. First, the GIA, and if that's in place, then we go on with the achievements. There are other measures that are part of the process, and we'll talk about those as well, but this is where we begin. And now I'll turn it over to Cindy, and I hope she can speak as loudly as I can.
Okay, I will try. Our GT program services goals include critical thinking. We work on creative thinking, problem solving, creating advanced products and performances, as well as the social and emotional needs of our gifted students. The GT program is broken up kind of in two categories here. We have grades 1 through 5 who are serviced through GT clusters, which I will explain in a little bit if you're not familiar with that term, and through the GT Lead Pull-Out program. And in grades 6 through 8, those students have the opportunity to participate in GT Discoveries, which is a combined history and language arts course, accelerated math, and working?
Yes.
Okay. I just hold it up here to look cool. Accelerated math, accelerated science, and GT independent study. Then we also have the Aspire Academy, which is another path, and that's for the highly gifted, and it's housed at Glen Hope for the elementary school and at Cross Timbers for the middle school. So GT Lead, those program services are offered through a pull-out program, as I said, for our elementary GT students. And then the Aspire Academy is offered for the highly gifted. It's a school within a school at Glen Hope Elementary. It's grades 1 through 5. And again, for the highly gifted, it's a full-time placement, so they're not just being pulled out for the program. So this is what I said I would refer back to. What is a GT Lead cluster? So students are clustered with other GT students in their homeroom and content classes. And the GT cluster teachers receive professional development that's ongoing about how to meet the needs of the gifted students. And the GT Lead specialists collaborate with the GT cluster teachers to support those kids' needs when they're not with us. In kindergarten, students come to us for 45 minutes a week, and that begins second semester after testing takes place. First graders come to us for an hour and a half a week. Then in second and third grade, we meet with them for 2 hours a week, and fourth and fifth graders meet with us for 2.5 hours a week. So in GT Lead, the kids are learning with greater depth and complexity. We work on critical thinking and creative pursuits, problem solving, becoming self-directed learners. They have a chance to explore areas of interest and engage in rigorous challenges.
Okay, and now I'm going to speak just a little more in depth about the Aspire Academy. It is designed for highly gifted students. If you think back to that bell curve we looked at earlier, it's the top 1 or 2% of students in the nation. So it's a small group of students who even the pullout may not meet their needs as fully as we would like them to. So GCISD has created something called the Aspire Academy. It's really rare to have that for our students, so we're proud to be able to offer that service. If we do find that the student is at the GIA, or general intellectual level, of the highly gifted in that top 1 or 2%, so it's a 140 or above, then we also have to look closely at the achievement, because they're going to be among other high-achieving students. And so the achievement becomes even more important, and the bar is set a little higher for achievement in reading and math for the Aspire Academy placement. Once they're placed at the Academy, as a parent, you'll need to make a decision. Do you want them to attend? Because it is only housed at Glen Hope Elementary. We have GT Lead at every campus, including Glen Hope Elementary, because we have students who are GT but not necessarily highly gifted at Glen Hope as well. And you see the services are quite different. For GT Lead, Ms. Garcia already explained what that looks like. For Aspire Academy, they're just in a home room with other highly gifted students with their teacher just all day. So there is no pullout. The type of strategies and skills and social emotional support that our GT Lead students receive when they go to GT Lead class are just woven throughout their entire school day. They tend to have more intense needs, and so that is why this more intensive service is designed to meet those particular highly gifted needs. So if your student is not in that highly gifted range, it wouldn't be an appropriate placement for them. GT Lead would be a better placement. All the core content is taught within the academy classrooms, but we also think it's important that these kids have an opportunity to have friends among their peers in the grade level who aren't necessarily highly gifted or even gifted. So they're with them for all of their other grade level opportunities like music, art, PE, recess, lunch. They even do some combined field trips, all campus activities, like for example, they had a huge Veterans Day event, and that was of course the whole campus. So whatever's offered to any student at Glen Hope along those lines is offered to Aspire Academy, and it's just all one large group. That's why we refer to it as a school within a school. That it's an intentional design so kids have the benefit of what it would be like to be an elementary student anywhere, but yet their instruction and their social emotional support is very targeted for highly gifted students. Just so you can kind of look ahead, the Aspire Academy for grades 6 through 8 is housed at Cross Timbers Middle School. So if your student is at the elementary Aspire Academy at Glen Hope, they would go to Cross Timbers, no matter what your home school would have been. And it's a similar design in that the core content is taught within Aspire classrooms, but it's also taught with a middle school schedule. So they have a different teacher for humanities than they have for science, than they have for math. But their elective courses are out among all kids on the campus. Their PE or their, once they're old enough, their athletics, band, drama, all of those things is all campus. They have club opportunities that is all campus. So it's the blended model